The focus of her presentation and lessons is centralized around the topic of improving student writing through the writing process. Peer teaching and coaching is a key element in the development of students' social emotional skills, as well as other crucial 21st century workforce skills like critical thinking and creative problem solving.
Teacher feedback needs to touch on both criterion-based and reader-based input. From there, students will be given the opportunity to consider and respond to it, as they need to feel autonomy in how they utilize the feedback given to them. When students are able to use their interests as the foundation of their learning, it allows for a deeper understanding of writing strategies.
Providing both consistent and ongoing feedback in different modalities allows for feedback to become a powerful and useful tool. While peer feedback is crucial for providing insight into how written work is interpreted by someone of a similar level, it should not be the only form of feedback provided. It should be used in tandem with teacher comments to create a stronger foundation for improvement.
Verbal feedback tends to be more individualized and meaningful, especially during the writing process. Although students appreciate teachers providing feedback on their work, they don't like to have their ideas questioned or criticized. Providing feedback after students have handed in their work is less effective, as they've already received their grade and are no longer interested in incorporating that feedback.
My activity had students revisit an opinion writing piece they had previously completed and received a mark for. Students were asked to provide their peers with written and verbal feedback in order to revise and improve their writing to attain a better mark. The goal of this lesson was for students to learn and understand how to revise and provide feedback on a piece of writing by referencing the expectation requirements on a rubric and finding specific areas to improve upon. This lesson taught students how to provide their peers with constructive feedback that is both positive and meaningful to the writer in order to help one another create well-developed writing pieces. It also allowed students to have autonomy, as they were able to decide whether or not they incorporated the feedback given to them when writing their new opinion piece. This lesson teaches students that messages can be misinterpreted if they are not clearly stated. It allows students to recognize the importance of revision, as it can enhance the clarity of a message that is trying to be conveyed. It is important that students remember that practice makes perfect.
This lesson enables students to add description to their writing by applying word choice that makes it richer and more compelling. To begin, they will use the show-don't-tell technique to describe an emotion of their choice. They will use sensory and descriptive language without explicitly stating the emotion, and they will have their peers guessing. Students will later combine narrative and descriptive writing by using a real memory to inspire a fictional story. Through verbal and written constructive peer feedback, they will be prompting each other to explode the moment and spark changes on elements that could be improved. This activity takes something with which the students are familiar and comfortable with and helps them reflect on the meaning and voice of their story. Through descriptive writing and peer feedback, students get to dive deeper into the revision process. They'll understand the impact of their writing and think about elements such as voice, perspective, and point of view. They'll take ownership over their work since they decide whether they'll utilize their peers' comments or dismiss them when they come to refine their writing piece.
My activity focuses on brainstorming. Brainstorming gives students the opportunity to generate innovative ideas and develop higher thinking skills. The goal of this lesson is to have students write a letter to the mayor about a social or environmental concern in my students' community that impacts them. This lesson gives students the opportunity to choose an issue that they are passionate about. Through brainstorming ideas for their letter and researching the city's upcoming safety plans, students are able to see what is required in both structuring a letter and how to make it impactful. By sending these letters, students will receive feedback from their community leaders on what they can do to be a responsible citizen. Through the brainstorming process and responsible citizen framework, students get to see firsthand the significance their writing has. By writing a letter to the city's mayor and getting a thoughtful response, students acknowledge the power of writing and role of being a responsible citizen. This lesson has taught my students that their voices matter and that through brainstorming, new ideas to help the community were generated.
The power of peer feedback is often overlooked in favor of teacher-led evaluations. My activity seeks to utilize feedback in a major way through the use of reading workshops. This activity begins during the revision stage of any written assignment and has a wide range of potential uses. Using the 2 stars and a wish method, students will have the opportunity to provide and receive constructive feedback from one another. Students will be placed into small reading groups and each take turns speaking their rough drafts orally to their peers. Using the previously mentioned 2 stars and a wish method, the listeners will provide the speaker with 2 aspects that they enjoyed about the draft and one that they think could be improved upon. After each student has had a chance to read their own writing and listen to their peers', they will construct a revise and resubmit letter, justifying whether or not they will incorporate their peers' suggestions. This activity allows for students to receive constructive feedback from their peers, as well as praise for things they've done well. Reading orally has the added benefit of self-revision, picking up on small spelling or grammar issues that may have been missed when written. The revise and resubmit task gives students a sense of autonomy over their own work and evokes a deeper, more meaningful connection to their work.
My lesson gives students the opportunity to grow within their learning of paragraph writing by moving on to the subject of persuasive writing. Within this activity, students begin with reflecting on their already known knowledge of paragraph writing and how they can take the next step to making their writing persuasive. This lesson is meant to target students' interest to encourage deeper learning by allowing students to reflect upon the things that they are passionate about. When students identify the things that they are passionate about, they will pick one topic that they believe they can successfully create a persuasive writing paragraph of. This is crucial as it fosters an environment where all students and interests are accepted and used as an essential aspect for deeper learning. Students will create their own persuasive writing paragraph on a collaborative working document during class time. Upon completion, the teacher will offer critical feedback to the students. Teacher feedback is essential for this type of lesson, as it allows students to reflect upon their achievements in engaging in this lesson and their next steps going forward in becoming better persuasive writers.
In short, it is clear that peer and self-feedback can be just as effective tools as teacher-led feedback. In addition to building confidence and relationships with their peers, incorporating a mix of these feedback strategies will grant students ownership over their written work, as well as foster a deeper understanding of the subject material at hand. This will allow for students to reflect on their writing and appreciate the opportunity to create something meaningful.